Okay guys, I really want to talk to you about something that happened at my daycare and just kind of get this off my chest, I guess. So my daughter has been going to a Christian daycare, and we don't go to this, it's in a church, and we don't go to the church. We don't go to church because we're heathens. But anyway, we kind of live out kind of in the country, and the daycare is like right near our house, and so it's a convenient location, and it buses the kids to the school that they go to, and so they can get picked up and dropped off there. Anyway, they've been going there for 5 years, about. And my daughter this last year hasn't been going because they can come home and after school they just get dropped off at the house, and then I get home like a half hour later. Well, now that it's summer though, they go there, and so I don't know if that's what brought out these concerns of my daughter's or these incidences that she started talking about, but she never mentioned them before, so I guess I just kind of wanted to get somebody's feedback on like if they've ever dealt with this kind of stuff before. So she tells me that I'm trying to adjust this. So my daughter tells me that there was a kid who was spanked at the daycare, and I was like, what? And then, kids, they say stuff, and you don't know if it's something that they heard happened that never really happened or what. So I was trying to not put anything in her head by like leading questions out of her, but like I just tried to get her to describe what happened, and did you see this happen, or did someone tell you that this happened? Anyway, so what she said is that she was at daycare, and this is a year ago, and I think that, like I said, the only reason she's telling me now is because she hasn't been at daycare for a year, and so it didn't she wasn't thinking about it. Well, there's a boy, and I'm not going to say his name, just in case, that was in the director's office. And so my daughter leaves her little classroom and goes to the bathroom, which is right outside of the director's office. And while she's walking to the bathroom, she looks into the director's office because there's this big, huge window looking in. And she sees the director spank the boy on his butt. And she said it sounded really hard. But either way, I don't think, the daycare policy is that you don't spank. And so she said she saw it. And no, she's not one to, say things that aren't true unless it's like, I didn't hit my brother. Those kind of things, yeah, she'll lie. But, like bigger things like this, she doesn't lie. And so I'm really wanting to believe that as she's saying it happened. And so I'm upset because there's a little boy who was spanked at a daycare, and the director is a very cold and mean person, which is fine, and she seems like she's really bad with kids, honestly. But the rest of the staff there is really good. So if you're wondering, well, why do you have your kids there? So they love all of the other teachers that go there, except this director is just, you wonder, why are you working with kids? You're awful with them. And normally she honestly is just sitting in her office on Facebook. So there's that. So she doesn't, and anyway, so I asked my daughter, I'm like, well, what else have you ever seen anyone else get spanked? Or, have you ever, how do you feel about, Miss so-and-so. And then, so other things start coming out. And this is, so obviously spanking kids at a daycare is wrong. And maybe that's not obvious, but I would be furious, especially since it's against their own policy to spank your kids. So I take my kids there because they don't get spanked. And I would be really, really peeved if I found out that my daughter was spanked, and I would have a huge fit. But some other things are not as obvious. And so this other one, so I don't think it was the same boy, but the kids were at a playground. They have a little playground there. And the kid got a bug in his mouth and he spit. And so the director got like a little Dixie cup and made the kid spit in the cup until he had no spit left. And so I guess this took some amount of time. And this punishment was given out in front of all of the other kids. So the way that I see that is it's not only just, it's like an unusual punishment, but it's one that's designed to humiliate. And that really bothers me. And then another thing that she does is she will make kids be on a timeout, but their timeout is that they have to physically put their face or nose to the wall. And the timeout lasts for like 20 minutes. And that seems also like maybe excessive in terms of time, but also like it's designed to humiliate kids. And so what I did when I found this out is I contacted the deacon of the church, who is a board member of the daycare. So basically it's the director's boss. And I told him my concerns and that like I want to be anonymous because I know like this lady is like really mean, and I don't really care to have her be taking her frustrations out on my kids if she were to find out that they were the ones that said something to me and then I was the one that said something to her boss. But at the same time, I did say, like, if it comes down to a point where she has the right to know who her accuser is, then I would be okay with her finding out that it was me, because if otherwise it wasn't going to go anywhere, I would feel like bad. I mean, I don't ever want to see anyone get fired or anything like that, but look, I kind of thought about it this way, like, if it was my kid that was spanked and I did not know, but another parent knew and didn't feel comfortable coming forward, so they didn't, I think if I were to find out that later, I would be mad at the parent too. And I ultimately, like, I would really want that information to come out if it had been my kid that had been, I see that as really, like, not only physically abused. You shouldn't spank people's kids if they're not your kids. Like, kids should be, and I don't even spank my own kids, but, like, if you're going to spank a kid, it should be in your own home and somebody that is, it's your own kid. If you go up to someone else's kid and spank them, then you're causing, like, a lot of harm and, like, mental harm to this kid. And I think that spanking by a stranger or somebody who's not, like, familial would be traumatic. Like, and then your parent is constantly dropping off at this place where you feel, like, harmed. So I don't know. Like, so the deacon is going to review it, and he said that he wasn't sure what he could do, given that it was, about a year ago that the spanking happened, but the other punishments, these are ongoing. And so I'm right now, what I'm doing is I'm just kind of waiting out to see what happens, because the only person who's really awful there is this director. And so, not that I want her to get fired, but I mean, obviously she's not in the right position. She should not be working with kids. She always seems really stressed out, and she seems stressed out and she's taking it out on the kids, which then she should not be working with them. But I don't know, like, how do you guys feel about these other punishments that are happening? Like, would you be upset if your kid was made to spit in a cup? I mean, it's one thing, let's say that you do that to your kid, like, okay, you're gonna spit, then you need to spit in this cup, you know, and you're in your own home and you're kind of maybe teaching them a lesson. But like, this lady is like really abrasive and mean to the kids and just kind of like bossy. And but you know, I guess I don't know, I wonder, are like these things common in daycares, or is this something that's unusual to my kids' daycare, which would suck, but actually I guess that would be good. I wouldn't want other parents, you know, really dealing with this kind of stuff, because from my perspective, I feel really bad about bringing my kids to that daycare. I mean, they're almost at the point, I think, you know, when school starts again, they're going to get dropped off at the house, and then they'll only be there for a little bit. But like, the only reason they're there right now is because it's summer, and I don't want them to spend, you know, 8 hours, 9 hours at home by themselves with nothing to do and no like structured activity. So that's the only reason why they're there right now. So it's only like maybe another 2 months. But all of these other kids are going to continue to go there, and the daycare is going to continue to operate the way that it operates unless it's forced to make changes. So I don't know, just, you know, give me your feedback. Tell me I'm being totally irrational, it's totally normal, and I need to just calm down. Cool, I get it, like, that's fine. Anyway, yeah, tell me what your thoughts are, because that's just really weird to me, and maybe it's not. All right, bye.